Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'd like to welcome staff. We do not have any ladies or gentlemen in the gallery tonight, but we may have viewers online, and I'd like to welcome the elected members as well. We'll now have Councillor Abetz read the blessing. Thank you.
Thank you. Almighty God and Father, as we've gathered here for this council meeting, we seek your blessing on our deliberations. We pray that you'd give us clarity of mind and speech, and that we would have the well-being of our city and its residents at the forefront of our minds. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Councillor Abetz. Before we begin the meeting, I would like to acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional lands of the Whadjuk people and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. It is now 7:05 and I declare the meeting open. There are no announcements of visitors. Please note the meeting is live streamed and I'll now read the disclaimer. Members of the public are cautioned against taking any action on council decisions on items in which they may have an interest until such time as they have seen a copy of the minutes of the meeting or have been advised in writing by city staff. Please note the live streaming that all council meetings are digitally recorded and live streamed on the city's YouTube channel, except for confidential agenda items, during which time the live stream will be temporarily suspended. So I will now move to the record of attendance. So tonight we have approved leave for Mayor Teresa Lyons, Councillor Glenn Dewhurst and Councillor Emma Zhang. And we have also Councillor Malik Sijard, who is an apology. We do not have any members online tonight and all other members are present. We'll now move to disclosures of interest. Councillors, are there any disclosures to be declared? No disclosures of interest. That now takes us to item 4, the announcements by presiding members. So I have a few announcements to make tonight. First, I'll begin with acknowledging that today is the start of the 16 Days in WA campaign, which is a statewide initiative to end family and domestic violence. The campaign takes place from 25th of November, which is known as the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and ends on the 10th of December, which is the Human Rights Day. This year's focus is on engaging men and boys because real change happens when everyone takes responsibility for building respectful relationships. You'll notice many of the council members and staff are wearing orange today. That's due to the orange being the global colour of awareness and hope, and the colour that represents this campaign. For the 2025 theme, to stop domestic and family and domestic violence, playing your part, is an open invitation and reminder to the whole community to support respectful and safe relationships at home, in workplaces, places where we learn and where we socialise. This year's campaign is a powerful reminder that men and boys play a critical role by challenging harmful thoughts, modelling respect and speaking out against violence. I'll now like to move on to additional notifications that the Mayor has sent through. So the Mayor attended the official opening of the Kwinana Waste to Energy facility. This marked an important step forward for the West Australia's approach to waste management and long-term sustainability. The Mayor would also like to pass on her congratulations to Glenda and her team for delivering an outstanding Pioneers dinner over the weekend. It was a great day with plenty of positive feedback from attendees, and the Mayor would like to especially acknowledge 98-year-old Betty Underwood, who has lived in the city of Gosnells her entire life. The Mayor also noted the passing of Alira Kelly, the former CEO of the Langford Aboriginal Association, and recognises her significant contribution to the sector and to our local government. She will be missed by many. I would also like to congratulate Mayor Teresa Lyons and Mayor Patrick Hall, who were elected to the Welga State Council as the representative for our zone. I would also like to congratulate Councillor Emma Zhang and Mayor Ruth Butterfield, who have been elected as deputies to the State Council. So that brings me to the end of the announcements by presiding member. I would now like to move to item 5, reports of delegates, and I'll move around the room. Are there any reports? There are Councillor Islam.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I had a privilege to attend a Audit Committee Chair Forum on 12th of November, organised by Office of the Auditor General. Now, the forum included valuable presentations from Andrea Hall, the Independent Chair of the Western Power Audit and Risk Committee, who shared the practical experience, and also Joshua Chalmers is an independent consultant who offered insights into internal audit from a Commonwealth government perspective. The Auditor General, Caroline Spencer, she outlined the key findings from the latest round of state sector financial audits, as well as the emerging trends we are seeing in local government audits. She highlighted a proposed new approach intended to improve transparency and timeliness of reporting across our sector. Few points that I have noted down. One was audits for all 147 local governments are now well underway, and with a target completion date of 5th of December this year. Early observations showing rising costs in procurement and HR across the sector. Also, the OAG is examining ways to improve audit efficiency. However, there is no assurance that this will translate to lower audit fees. These insights will inform our work as a council and as an audit committee, ensuring we remain focused on strong governance, transparency, and value for money for our ratepayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Islam. Are there any other reports from delegates? No? Okay, so we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is item 6, question time for public and the receiving of public statements. We do not have any tonight, which is maybe a first in a long time. So we'll move now to item 7, confirmation of minutes. May I seek a mover? Councillor Islam, and a seconder, Councillor Abetz. Would you like to speak on the item? No. We'll go to a vote on the item. That's been unanimously carried. Thank you. We will now move to item 8, receiving of petitions and presentations. So the first item on the agenda, petition on the agenda is 8.1, request to prevent model boating on Central Park Avenue Reserve, Canning Vale. May I seek a mover? Councillor Dalton, would you like to read the petition?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I would like to acknowledge that as the residents of the avenues, we are creating the petition for immediate action to be taken by the City of Gosnells to stop the use of any type of boat or activity on the avenues reserve main lake permanently, as this creates an unsafe habitat for wildlife and disturbs the natural ecology of the main lake to thrive and flourish. I would like to move that the petition be received and a report prepared for Council.
Thank you, Councillor Dalton. And we'll now go to the vote on that item. Oh, sorry. I'll seek a seconder. Councillor Islam. And we will now go to the vote. Thank you. Thank you. That was unanimously carried. Do we have any further petitions? Councillor Abetz.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. And just for those who've read the agenda, it said that Councillor Abetz was going to present the petition. It's not that I was unwilling to, but we do share it around for anybody who's perhaps listening or looking at it. So I look forward to that report coming. I have a petition here, lead petitioner Craig Bromfield, and it says, and it's got 79 signatures. We, the undersigned, request the City of Gosnells discontinue plans for a pickleball court at the location, that's the Tiger Reserve, and instead preserve the park's quiet natural character for the benefit of all residents. And I'd like to move that a report be prepared, and I just preface that with saying that the lead petitioner is very happy for that to be not a separate report, but simply be included in the consultation, or the feedback on the community consultation be taken into account.
Sorry, Councillor Abetz, can I just clarify, are you moving that it be received to be included in the consultation, or would you like a...
Yeah, I'm not sure that it actually is allowed to have anything other than exactly what's the options there. So I just thought it to be received and a report be prepared, but that report can be part of the report from the consultation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I
Seconder?
seek a seconder then? Councillor Adams as a seconder. We have no speaking. Okay, so we'll go to the vote now. Thank you, councillors. That's been carried. Are there any further petitions or presentations? No? Thank you. We will now move to item 9, application for a leave of absence. If you just give me a moment. So, do we have any applications for leave of absence? No? Okay, thank you, councillors. We'll now move to item 10, questions of which due notice have been given, and we have nil on the agenda for that item. So we'll now move forward to item 11, items brought forward for the convenience of those in the public gallery. We have no items to be brought forward. We'll move to the next item on the agenda is item 12, reports of committee meetings. And we have nil reports of committee meetings. So we'll move to item 13, reports, with 13.1.1 as the first report is the Strategic Projects Progress Report. Can I seek a mover? Councillor Dalton, and can I seek a seconder? Councillor Sislak. Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak to the item? No. Councillor Sislak, would you like to speak? No. Would any other councillor like to speak to this item? Councillor Islam?
Yes, can I just say thank you to our staff. The dashboard looks fabulous, particularly Power BI, the way it's displaying, fantastic. It makes our job easier, and also our residents' job easier as well. They can see the real-time report on our website. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Islam. Would anybody else like to speak to this item? No. Councillor Dalton, would you like to close? No. We'll go to the vote now. Thank you, councillors. That was unanimously carried. That now takes us to the next item on the agenda, 13.1.2, Greening Gosnells, our public tree strategy. 2-year progress report. Councillors, may I seek a mover? Councillor Islam mover and a seconder, Councillor Lloyd. Councillor Islam, would you like to speak? Councillor Lloyd, would you like to speak? Would any councillor like to speak to this item? No. Councillor Islam, would you like to close? No. Councillors, can we please go to the vote? Thank you, councillors. That's unanimously carried. This brings us to the next item on the agenda, 13.2.1, Development Application, Transport Depot, 19, Lot 5, Victoria Road, Kenwick. May I seek a mover? Councillor Adams as mover and seconder, Councillor Islam. Councillor Adams, would you like to speak to this motion? No. Councillor Islam. Councillors, would anyone like to speak? Councillor Abetz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In principle, I think it's a sound staff recommendation, but I think condition 3, I'd like to move an amendment that condition 3 of the staff recommendation be amended to read, within 90 days of approval, the applicant shall have approved and thereafter implement a drainage plan to the satisfaction of the City of Gosnells, showing how stormwater drainage from the development is to be accommodated on site. For the following reasons, the current condition 3 is a standard condition that indicates that the Heartstand area is to be paved and sealed, and this is not the intent. Therefore, a more appropriate condition is required.
Thank you, Councillor Abetz. May I seek a seconder? Councillor Dalton. Seconder. Councillor Abetz, would you like to speak to this motion?
I think I've said enough. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Thank you. Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak? No. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? No. Councillor Abetz, would you like to speak before we close? No. Okay, councillors, can we please go to the vote? Thank you. Councillors, the amendment has been carried. So we will now put the amendment back with the original staff recommendation. So would any councillor like to speak to this motion? No. Councillor Adams, would you like to speak to close? No. Okay, councillors, we'll now go to the vote. Thank you, councillors. That was unanimously carried. So that now brings us to the next item on the agenda, 13.2.2, Budget Variation Central Maddington Development Contribution Plan, 38, Lot 43, River Avenue, Maddington, reimbursement for contributions and public open space land. May I seek a mover? Councillor Lloyd to move, seconder, Councillor Singh to second. Councillor Lloyd, would you like to speak? No. Councillor Singh, would you like to speak? Would any other councillor like to speak to this? No. Okay, Councillor Lloyd, would you like to close? No. So we will now take the motion to a vote. Councillors, may you cast your vote. Thank you, councillors. That's unanimously carried. That now brings us to the next item, 13.2.3, Draft Modified Local Planning Policy 2.8, Planning Guidelines for Places of Worship, Adoption for Advertising. May I seek a mover? Councillor Islam as a mover, Councillor Adams seconder. Councillor Islam, would you like to speak to this item?
Can I just ask, I don't have anything to add on this item. There are other next two items on the agenda. They're very similar. Just suggesting if we can bundle them together and then move forward.
Councillor Islam, I haven't had a chance to check whether anyone wants to
Okay,
speak
all right.
on the other items.
Thank you. That's okay.
So, thank you. Okay, would anybody like to speak on this item? No? Okay, so we'll go to the vote on this item. Councillors, can you please cast your vote? Thank you, councillors. That's unanimously carried. So the next item is 13.2.4, Draft Modified Local Planning Policy 3.5, Infill Development, Adoption for Advertising. May I seek a mover? Councillor Dalton, and a seconder, Councillor Lloyd. Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak to the item? No. Councillor Lloyd? No. Would anybody else like to speak to this item? No. Okay. Councillor Dalton, would you like to close? No. We will now go to the vote. Thank you, councillors. That's unanimously carried. Takes us to the next item, 13.2.5, Draft Modified Local Planning Policy 3.6, Structure Plans, Adoption for Advertising. May I seek a mover? Councillor Mason, and a seconder is Councillor Islam. Councillor Mason, would you like to speak to this item? No. Councillor Islam? No. Would anybody else like to speak to this item? No. Councillor Mason, would you like to speak before I close? No. Okay, councillors, we'll now take the item to the vote. I'm just waiting on one. Yep. Thank you, councillors. That's unanimously carried. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is item 13.3.1, proposed lease of the Moort-Ap Centre located at 15 lot 180 Imber Road, Langford, to the Langford Aboriginal Association Incorporated. May I seek a mover? Councillor Abetz to move, and I'm happy to second the item. Councillor Abetz, would you like to speak to the item?
Madam Deputy Mayor, I speak in support of the staff recommendation to renew that release on the usual 5-year plus 5-year basis. The Langford Aboriginal Association has been a very long-standing community service in our organisation, providing great services to the Aboriginal community, but also to the non-Aboriginal community, providing all sorts of services from financial counselling, training, to all sorts of different inputs, which is great. Sometimes people may ask the question about the peppercorn rental, but being a not-for-profit organisation, even though they have quite a large budget, I guess the question is, if they were to pay more than the peppercorn, it just would simply mean they would be able to provide less of those community services. So I'm fully supportive of the ongoing our policy to provide such not-for-profit organisations with a peppercorn rental, and so I encourage everyone to support it, support this staff recommendation, and allow the Langford Aboriginal Association to continue to provide its excellent services to the community. I think any delay in approving the lease would send a very, very wrong message to this excellent group of people who provide a lot of services also to the city staff when it comes to consultation about things that affect Aboriginal people. It's a very valuable relationship that's been established over the years, and I think anything that would negatively impact that would not be helpful at all. So I strongly encourage everyone to support the staff recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Abetz. As the seconder, I'll now speak in support of the staff recommendation. I think Councillor Abetz has raised some very good points in his debate. I think it's very important to recognise that the Langford Aboriginal Association has supported our community for 20 years from this location, and their lease is coming to expire on the 28th of February. As with any not-for-profit organisation, they need some certainty that they can carry on providing those much-needed services in our area. So I think the standard extension, the 5 years with a 5-year extension, is warranted in this case and should not be delayed, providing that triggering uncertainty for the organisation. I think we have heard from staff of the valuable contribution the association makes in supporting the city with cultural awareness and cultural insight, which goes a long way in furthering our relationship with the Aboriginal community. I think as we're moving through reconciliation phases, I think this is very important to uphold that relationship and also have these services to support the attendees that attend those valuable programs such as the financial literacy, the computer courses, youth diversion and many other cultural groups that they offer from there. While the Langford Aboriginal Association has been at this location for a number of years, they have improved the area. They have had very large input into the park next door, which was, I can't remember the exact name, it was given an Aboriginal name, and they had quite a lot of input into the consultation in developing that park so it could meet the needs of the local community, but also be an extension and hub for youth members from LAA to enjoy those facilities as well. They also have a garden there that they have created and invested a lot of love and time into, and I think acknowledging those efforts by extending the lease would be very well received, and I think it is fiscally responsible as the council to continue on with this lease and not isolate out this particular lease for further policy review. So I would ask you to support the staff recommendation. Thank you. Sorry, I'm used to turning it off. Councillors, would anybody else like to speak to this motion? Councillor Islam?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a procedural motion. I, Councillor Saiful Islam, propose the following, that the item under consideration be deferred for the following reason. Council Policy 2.1.12, tenancy agreements for city property is due for review in 2026. And in fact, majority of us have not seen this policy. When last time it was reviewed, majority of us were not here. Entering into a 5-year lease of a city property carries significant financial implication both for the city and also its ratepayers. And the policy should be reviewed before any such commitments are made. Several aspects of the policy warrant closer consideration, and I request that this policy review be undertaken at an elected member workshop prior to any further lease for city properties being renewed or granted, not only to this, any further lease that we review. I understand that the existing lease can continue until the city makes a decision on this. Therefore, I don't see there is any impact on the activities they perform, and the procedural motion is not against this particular organization. I know what this organization does because I live next door. I go to this park with my kids every day.
Sorry, Councillor Islam, before you can speak to the motion, I'll need to seek a seconder. So councillors, may I seek a seconder for the deferral? Councillor Lloyd will second the deferral motion. Now, Councillor Islam, you can speak to the motion, and then after that there will be no further debate. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As I was saying, by doing this procedural motion, there will not be any impact on the activities they have been doing. this will give ourselves, all the elected members, an opportunity to review the existing policy, which is up for review anyway. And as I said earlier, is majority of the council, they have not seen this policy before. And as I was saying, there is nothing against this particular organization. This is about the policy review. And a couple of points that Madam Mayor, you mentioned, and Peter Abbas mentioned as well about the work they do. I think I know more than anyone else because I live next door. And also I go to the park with the kids and also know all the neighboring and also the people involved with this organization. So I'll ask my fellow councillors to support this procedural motion just to defer this because it will have no impact on the work they are doing. It will give ourselves an opportunity to go back and review our policy. Excuse me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Islam. As this is a procedural motion, there's no further debate on the motion, so I'll put the procedural motion to the vote. So, councillors, can I please ask for you to cast your vote? Thank you, councillors. So the procedural motion has been lost, so the item has not been deferred. So we'll now revert back to the staff recommendation that was moved and seconded. So we've had speakers on that, 2 speakers on that. Would anybody else like to speak on that motion, on the staff recommendation? No? Okay. Councillor Abetz, would you like to close? No? So councillors, we'll now go to the vote on the staff recommendation. Thank you, councillors. That has been carried with 7 votes in support and 2 votes against. Thank you. So this now brings us to the next item on the agenda, item 13.3.2, report on petition, Gosnells Bowling Club car park. May I seek a mover? Councillor Islam to move. May I seek a seconder? Councillor Sislak to second. Councillor Islam, would you like to speak to this motion? No. Councillor Sislak, would you like to speak to the motion? No. Councillors, would anybody like to speak to the motion or ask any questions? Councillor Abetz.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Peter Abetz, proposed the following: that staff recommendation 2 be amended to read that Council receives the report on the petition for the car park on Reserve 2285, Lot 4211, Albany Highway, Gosnells, being exclusively by the Gosnells Bowling Club, and supports the marking of bays for seniors and ongoing monitoring to determine whether further changes may be required. For the following reason to be included in the minutes, to support the Gosnells Bowls Club in the short term and consider further amendments to parking arrangements if required. Is there a seconder? I can speak to it.
Councillor Sislak to second the amendment. Councillor Abetz, would you like to speak to the amendment?
Yeah. Going for option 2 is that the car park still remains available to the public, but by designating a few bays for seniors, it's not something that's going to be easy to police, but most people respect seniors' bays when they're there, and that way some of the more senior members of the Bowls Club, if those bays are closer to the where the entry is into the Bowls Club, they can make use of those, and that will just be a small, mark of respect for the seniors. Although I would qualify to park in there myself now, so perhaps I have to declare a vested interest, do I? A conflict of interest. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Councillor Abetz. Councillor Sislak, would you like to speak to the amendment? No. Would any other councillor like to speak to the amendment? Councillor Adams?
Just have a question. This amendment says exclusive use by the Gosnells Boarding Club. Is that meaning that no one else can use the car park? Or have I got that wording incorrectly?
The petition was for the exclusive use. That's what
Okay.
the intent.
I'll just refer to Director Bradbrook to clarify.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The words exclusively there refer to what the club's request was. They requested that the car park be set aside, excuse me, exclusively for their use. It doesn't mean that we're setting aside. We are looking at marking some bays for seniors and then doing some ongoing monitoring of the park.
I understand that, but it sounds a little bit dubious. If there's a way that can be reworded to not have it exclusively by the Gosnells Bowling Club.
Thank you. So we've just had a bit of a discussion about that point. Those words were in there because those are the words that were of the original petition, and they are the words that are in the staff recommendation. But if it helps clarify the situation, would Councillor Abetz be open to having the words being used exclusively by the Gosnells Bowling Club removed from the amendment?
Just because the staff recommendation, I'm asking to amend it. It actually also needs to change supports option 2 rather than, because the staff recommendation is option 3, and it doesn't actually, my motion doesn't, amendment doesn't actually mention that. So we go to option 2 with a proviso of, but supports the marking of bays for seniors, which is option 2, I guess. Yeah.
Councillor Director Bradbrook will provide some clarification.
Madam Deputy Mayor, option 2 in the report just talks about marking bays for seniors. It doesn't talk about the ongoing monitoring of the parking. So if the amendment was, if your amendment was to read that council receives the report on the petition for the car park on reserve 2285 Albany Highway, Gosnells, and supports the marking of bays for seniors and ongoing monitoring to determine whether changes may be required, I think that captures both 2 and 3 for you. Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Thank you. So Councillor Abetz, you're happy with that wording, and Councillor Sislak, second, you're happy with those changes to the amendment's wording? Okay. Would any councillors like to speak on the amendment? Councillor Islam?
Can you just repeat the wording again? Sorry, I just lost it.
I'll have Councillor, not Councillor, I'll have
Thank you.
Director Bradbrook
Thank you.
read it out. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It reads that Council receives the report on the petition for the car park on Reserve 2285, Lot 4211, Albany Highway, Gosnells, and supports the marking of bays for seniors and ongoing monitoring to determine whether further changes may be required.
Would any councillor like to speak any further on this amendment? No. Councillor Betts, would you like to close on the amendment? No. So councillors, can we please go to the vote on the amendment? Just waiting on one more vote. Thank you, councillors. That's unanimously carried. So councillors, the amendment will now go back to the original staff recommendation. So we'll now, is there any further debate on the original item together with the amendment? No? Councillor Islam, would you like to speak to it before we close? No? Okay, thank you, councillors. May you now go to the vote. Thank you, councillors. That's unanimously carried. That now brings us to the next item on the agenda. It's item 13.3.3, report on petition, revised footpath construction, Corriedale Place, Thornlie. May I seek a mover? Councillor Mason as the mover. May I seek a seconder? Councillor Singh as the seconder. Councillor Mason, would you like to speak? No. Councillor Singh, would you like to speak as the seconder? No. Councillors, Councillor Sislak.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I have a proposed amendment to motion. So I, Councillor Leah Sislak, propose the following: that the staff recommendation be amended by the inclusion of the following additional part. 2, that the council resolves not to proceed with the footpath at Corriedale Place, Thornlie, for the following reason: to make it clear that the installation of the path will not proceed.
Thank you, Councillor Sislak. May I seek a seconder? Councillor Lloyd as a seconder. Councillor Sislak, would you like to speak to the amendment?
It's pretty self-explanatory, just to reflect in the minutes that the residents on Corriedale Place won't have that footpath constructed. So,
thank you, Councillor Sislak. Councillor Lloyd, would you like to speak? No. Would any other councillor like to speak to the amendment? Councillor Adams?
Just quickly, there's a spelling error. Path is written as oath.
Councillor Sislak did pronounce it as path. Any further questions or debate? No. Councillor Sislak, would you like to speak to close the amendment? No. Okay, councillors, we'll now go to the vote. Thank you, councillors. That's unanimously carried. So we'll now put the amendment together with the staff recommendation. Councillors, would you like to speak to the motion? Councillor Betts.
Madam Deputy, it's quite interesting. Usually we get requests for money to be spent, but it's very encouraging to get something coming our way that says don't spend the money. So I'm happy to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. So we will now close the debate if there's no further questions. Councillors, can you please go to the vote? Thank you, councillors. That's been unanimously carried. So that brings us to the next item on the agenda, item 13.5.1, the tender 18 of 2025, Sutherlands Park Civil and Landscaping, Lead Design Consultancy. Councillors, can I seek a mover? Councillor Dalton as a mover and a seconder. Councillor Mason as a seconder. Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak? No. Councillor Mason? No. Would any other councillors like to speak on this item? No. Councillor Dalton, would you like to close? No. Okay, councillors, we will now go to the vote. Thank you, councillors. That's unanimously carried. This now brings us to item 13.5.2, Financial Activity Statement for October 2025. May I seek a mover? Councillor Islam, and a seconder, Councillor Sislak. Councillor Islam, would you like to speak? No. Councillor Sislak, would you like to speak? No. Would any other councillor like to speak to this item? No. Councillor Islam, would you like to speak before we close? No. Okay, councillors, can you please go to the vote? Thank you, councillors. That's unanimously carried. We will now move to item 13.5.3, Payment of Accounts, October 2025. May I seek a mover? Councillor Mason as a mover and seconder, Councillor Singh. Councillor Mason, you would not like to speak. Councillor Singh, would you like to speak? No. Would any other councillor like to speak to this item? No. Councillor Mason, would you like to speak before we close? No. Okay, councillors, we will now go to the vote. Just waiting on one more. Thank you, councillors. That's unanimously carried. That now brings us to item 14, motions of which previous notice has been given and we do not have any. Item 15, no urgent business on tonight's agenda. Item 16, confidential matters, we do not have any. And that brings us to item 17, the closure, and we will now close the meeting at 7:53. Thank you very much.